All right, today we're going to dive deep into an ancient text that pretty much turns our modern idea of yoga completely on its head. We're going way beyond the mat to explore a vision of yoga that has almost nothing to do with stretching your body and everything to do with freeing your mind.
So let me just ask you, when I say the word yoga, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it a warrior pose, maybe a packed fitness studio, or just, some deep breathing to de-stress after a long day? Whatever it is, hold that thought, because we're about to see how it stacks up against a much, much older idea.
So on one hand, you've got the view most of us know, right? Yoga is physical postures, a great workout, an awesome tool for stress relief. But then you look at the view from this ancient text, the Yoga Vasistha, and wow, it's a whole different universe. It's not about postures, it's about the dissolution of the mind. Not fitness, but self-knowledge. And not just stress relief, but ultimate liberation. It's a massive shift in perspective.
So where does this radical idea come from? It's from the Yoga Vasistha, which is basically this incredible dialogue between a wise sage, Vashishtha, and a young prince who's having a major life crisis, Prince Rama. And their conversation, it's a journey into the very nature of reality that completely redefines what union even means.
So what does this text say yoga actually is? Forget uniting body and mind. This is about ending the illusion that you are a separate person from the entire universe. It's not a set of exercises. It's a state of consciousness. A direct, first-hand knowledge of reality, with a capital R. Now, you'd think this epic philosophical journey would start with some grand quest for a magical sword or something, right? Nope. It all kicks off with total despair. Let's meet our hero, Prince Rama.
I mean, this guy has it all. He's a prince, he's got wealth, status, anything he could ever want. But instead of enjoying it, he's hit with this massive existential crisis. He looks around at all the parties and palaces and just sees that it's all temporary, that there's suffering in the world, and it throws him into this deep, dark place where he's questioning the very meaning of life itself. And that despair, that's the starting gun for his whole quest.
So the sage Vashishtha sees the prince in this state and lays out a plan. A clear, 6-stage roadmap to liberation. It starts with something called vairagya, or dispassion, then moves through understanding the world, and all the way to the dissolution of the mind and finally total freedom, nirvana. We're going to take a look at a few of the most important steps on this path. The first step, vairagya, is so important, but it's probably not what you're thinking. This isn't about running away from the world to live in a cave. It's a mental shift. It's about developing this deep dispassion, not for life itself, but for the illusions and the cravings that make us suffer. It's a kind of detachment that's born from seeing things clearly, from real wisdom.
Okay, so how do you get to that point? How do you develop that kind of deep dispassion? Well, Vashishtha answers that by dropping an absolute bombshell of an idea about the very nature of reality itself.
And here it is. This is the core teaching, the entire universe. Everything you see, touch, and experience is a projection of consciousness, just like a dream you have at night. It feels completely real when you're in it, right? But it's not the ultimate reality.
And here's why that matters. Think about it. If you truly deeply understood that this world operates like a dream, how could you get so hung up on winning the dream game or losing the dream possessions? This one realization is the key that can dissolve the attachments and cravings that cause us so much pain.
Okay, so if the world is just a projection of the mind, then the path to freedom has to involve the mind itself, right? This is where we move from just understanding the philosophy to actually experiencing the freedom it talks about.
The main tool for this is called Jnana Yoga, the path of wisdom. And again, this isn't about physical postures. This is a yoga of the intellect. It's about using razor-sharp questioning, logic, and deep self-reflection to cut through all the layers of ignorance and see reality for what it truly is.
I just love this metaphor. Vashishtha calls this path of wisdom the fire that burns away ignorance. So knowledge here isn't just passive information you collect. It's an active, transformative force. It's a fire that completely incinerates the root cause of all our suffering, which is ignorance of who we really are.
So where does this fire lead? It leads to a state called upashama. This is the ultimate quieting of the mind. And it's not about trying to control your thoughts or suppress them. It's way beyond that. It's where the very structure of the thinking mind itself just dissolves back into the silent, pure awareness that it came from. And when the mind dissolves, what's left? That's moksha, liberation. But here's the crucial part. It's not something you get or achieve. It's described as our natural state, what's left over once all the clouds of ignorance are burned away.
The small, individual sense of me disappears, and only the infinite remains.
And all of this brings us to the most profound conclusion in the whole text, that yoga isn't something you do for an hour a day. It is something you are. It is a state of being.
So what does that state of being actually feel like? Well, that constant mental chatter, it finally stops. You have a direct, pure knowledge of reality. You're free from desire and delusion. Your awareness just rests in itself, effortlessly. And all of that leads to this unshakable sense of calm, no matter what life throws at you.
And if there is one sentence to take away from this entire incredible text, it has got to be this one. Liberation isn't something you attain. It's not a prize at the end of a long struggle. It is simply the recognition of the freedom you already have.
So the whole grand journey, which started with a prince's deep despair, ends right here. It ends with this profound realization that true freedom isn't found out there in the world, but right here, inside, when the mind is finally purified by wisdom and just merges back into the self.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question to chew on. This ancient text insists that this freedom is your inherent nature, right here, right now. So, what would change for you in your life in this very moment if you started to recognize that you are already fundamentally free?